Hi, this video is just going to be a medley of topics that I don't really have enough to say to make like a full video on these topics, so it's just going to be like a bunch of micro videos, and I put them all into, you get it. Here we go. Topic number 1, regarding raid exotics. I frequently get asked if something needs to be done about the raid exotic drop rate, and my answer is yeah. There needs to be a more deterministic path to some of these weapons. Duality, the new dungeon, actually has something in place that could really benefit the raids, where completion of certain triumphs boosts the drop rate of the exotic by some percentage. This is something that needs to be adopted by the other raids to give players better chances at the raid exotic. Now, I'm not advocating for people to get the raid exotic on their first run, second run, even third run. But once people start pushing towards their 20th looted clear, or maybe X amount of unlooted clears or total clears, once people have demonstrated excellence in the raid, or, I don't know, have found enough groups to carry them through a raid that many times, the raid exotic should be rewarded. I don't think we should be seeing 30, 40, 50 looted runs with no raid exotic anymore. That should just probably be a thing of the past. I realize that these instances are probably anomalies in the grand scale of loot drops, but it's just kind of getting silly, and I'd love to know why these weapons aren't being rewarded with any sort of consistency. I get maybe not wanting to overflow the sandbox with weapons of these caliber, but I just don't know if that's really the way to go. Implementing the system that the dungeon uses would be very, very good. I don't want to say a necessity, but it'd be very, very good for the raids. The next topic revolves around combat style mods. Mods need to be made available to all players without having to wait on arbitrary timers, considering the changes that have been happening with build crafting. Not every mod setup is a make or break situation, but there are a lot of very important mods out there that a lot of people simply do not have access to. Maybe they didn't play in the past, maybe Ada 1 hasn't sold it in God knows how long. Regardless of the reason, there needs to be a much more direct path to combat style mods. End of story. I don't really care how it's done. Maybe Ada just sells every single mod and you buy them with legendary shards or something. You can just straight up give every single person in the game every combat style mod. Does not matter to me. I don't mind gatekeeping certain things in the game. Pieces of loot, armor ornaments, whatever, titles. You guys know me, I'm an elitist who wants rare stuff. Mods are not one of those things. Mods are not something that should be gatekept in this game with the direction the sandbox is going in, period. These need to be made much more available to everyone. If you want people to be able to build freely and truly play how they want, players cannot be stuck waiting for weeks at a time for a single mod that would boost their gameplay potential. End of story. Next is regarding Incandescent. I've been seeing a lot of feedback about how good this perk is. I started to make a video based on Incandescent to see where it could really start to shine in some Solar 3.0 builds. But as I investigated it more, I just kind of found that I didn't really want to build around the perk specifically, as opposed to just using it in addition to whatever build I already had rolling. The builds I've posted on the channel do not require Incandescent to work, but Incandescent is a perk that you could totally use while using one of these builds to further enhance your build's potential. And I know that there are ways of building around this perk in particular in order to make something work, but it just wasn't something I was really that interested in pursuing. Topic number 4 features Elitist Datto, and is addressing some of these L takes that I have been seeing regarding the corrupted strike. If you've ever wondered why there's no raid matchmaking, or why Bungie doesn't put mechanics into higher difficulty strikes, I want you to look no further than some of the Reddit threads that I've seen over the past month slandering the corrupted, one of the best strikes Bungie has ever put out, in my opinion. First, I would like to discuss the elephant in the room, which is the lone mechanic in this strike, the ball. You see, the ball is present in a couple of spots in the strike, most notably the elevator section. Picking up and throwing a ball at special immunity shielded enemies will damage that shield. I think most people know this. But if you pass the ball to a teammate first, the ball gets bonus damage against that shield, allowing you to completely remove the shield in a single throw. If you didn't know that, then there you go. The game does not explicitly tell you this mechanic, so I understand if this is not something you were ever going to try. I went through the same thing recently while playing Elden Ring. It has been almost 4 years since this strike has released. 4 years. I'm sure there are tons of articles and videos about this strike, specifically when it first launched. The only reason you should not know this mechanic by now is if you just started playing, if you don't watch YouTube content or use any social media at all, or maybe if you've played this game completely by yourself with literally no one else ever. If you have gone 4 years without knowing this mechanic exists, I don't know what to tell you other than I'm sorry, because I did not think something like that warranted a video. But lately, I have seen multiple Reddit posts calling this strike bad, and I'm here to call those people out for being wrong. You're wrong. You are wrong. 2015 Datto, Elitist Datto is back for like 3 minutes. Why is it bad? Why? Because it takes a few minutes longer to do than the average strike? Because there's one mechanic in it? What happened to the artificial difficulty bad where are my mechanics crowd? Are people seriously being toppled by a strike that makes you throw a ball and is longer than 8 minutes? You got the attention span of a goldfish or something? Some strikes are longer. Is that really that bad? I'm appalled. Truly appalled. Is it bad because the boss can boop you off the map and you actually need to pay attention to something, despite the fact that you can basically nuke this boss on most difficulties? Or is it bad because you're annoyed at teammates who don't know how to do something? We cannot live in a world where the corrupted strike is evil because of a ball throwing mechanic, while simultaneously asking Bungie for more mechanics and strikes and raid matchmaking. I really don't think it works that way. I'm not gonna lie, the community this season is probably showing some of its worst sides that I've seen in a long time. It has been very disappointing. I'm no angel either, but this is the worst I have seen things in a while. Did one game, this is a top Reddit post, by the way, top 5 Reddit post. I hate the new IB already. Did one game of IB and I hate it. Rift is terrible. We hit stomped 5-0 and I was the only person trying to grab the charge. Huge feedback. Top 5 Reddit post, by the way. And it has a bunch of gilded and awards. Holy f***. Okay. Played one game. All the feedback you need. Now, that post was deleted eventually, but really? That's what's making it to the top. One game of Iron Banner's feedback. I also wasn't a huge fan of all the knee-jerk reactions to Solo 3.0. There were some good posts in there, but a lot of bad comments and a lot of bad takes way too early. Twitter, don't think you're off the hook either, because some of the more disgraceful members managed to run one of the last remaining devs, Kevin Yanis, aka Tocom, who was actually willing to speak to the community, and one of the last remaining devs that could actually take some shit from y'all off of Twitter, because you all mauled over the fact that Twilight Garrison's not coming back to Destiny. Boo-hoo. Even though he said immediately after that something else might show up. Harassment, death threats. Hello? Really? You piece. I mean, I've been there with the harassment and the death threats, but I'm my own entity. I'll talk all the shit I want back to these idiots. Tocom does not get that ability unless he really wants to be fired. So now, no more productive Twitter discussion with one of the last remaining devs who would talk with us. Cool. That was a pitiful display. You think these Reddit posts were bad. The Twitter stuff was on another level. But expecting the garbage portion of the community to not be garbage when all they have been is garbage for years, probably my fault. I know I can count on those individuals to do literally the worst thing possible at every instance imaginable. Shameful display. Feels like there's something once a month. If you were a part of that crowd, I really want you to know how garbage you are. Pure human garbage. Trash. Get off the internet. Get a grip on your life. What else we got? Let's bring it back down. Finest Matterweave. This doesn't need to exist. Just give me the core. If you think I'm burning through 200 of these things, you're out of your mind, Bungie. You think people who abuse the legendary shard glitch are going to tear through the 1,400 of those they collected? Just give me the cores and just get rid of this, please. I don't want to go into my menu 200 times. If there's a button I could just hit to reactivate it outside of my menu, then fine. There's not. It's slow. It interrupts gameplay in a way that isn't fun. Just, why is this still here? Get rid of it. Okay. Think that'll do it. That's probably going to be my annual make people mad video, but hopefully I softened the blow a little bit before we got into all of that. Look, I got to defend my boy, the Corrupted. Completely undeserved, in my opinion. I can't see my boy get slandered like that. Just can't. In all seriousness, though, I still think it's a great strike. Just because it's a little longer than the others doesn't really make it bad. And, you know, if you're so annoyed by people not throwing the ball properly, doing the exchange, just throw an additional ball at the shielded enemies. You're going to be all right. It's the regular strike playlist. You'll live. It's not that big a deal. I feel like leaving comments enabled might come back to haunt me in the long run, but yeah. Well, you know, here we are. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.